we're going to go ahead and take a look at all 120 of the additional game cards. The starter decks are pretty much just going to be what you introduce your friends to first to help them get used to how brawls occur, how effects and bonus cards happen. This is where the stuff gets a little bit hairy. So this is going to help you construct actual decks that you want to mess around with, certain type focuses or certain effect focuses, and you're going to see a couple more cards that just have really insane effects and some that are incredibly strong compared to the things that are in the starter deck. So first and foremost, there are two types of Karumon that you haven't seen yet. And the first are Sky. Those are the ones with a little type just like this. A lot like Typeless, they do not have a power-up, so they are not advantaged against any other type, but there's also no other type that is advantaged against them. So the special thing about these guys is that they can natively attack Karumon that have a floating status. Otherwise, if they aren't Sky type or don't also have floating, they can't target a floating Karumon. So we'll go ahead and go through the first and foremost. We've got a birdie, Orin. When Orin defends, you can choose another Karumon on your team that Karumon defends instead. It has to be a valid defender. So the attacker's arrows have to be in the right place, depending on you wanting to shove the defense off on somebody else, but still can be very, very effective, especially if you play it near one of your stronger Karumon. A couple variants of this one, but this is Ramuda. If Ramuda attacks, you may move defender to any empty space in this brawl ends. So if you have a high value target that you're going after, but Ramuda is going to be the last card that fills around the space around it, and you can't quite capture it, you can go ahead and move that 15 or 14 power Karumon to a different, more open spot and hope that you can capture it later. Or you can just use it, 7 is pretty high for a starter power, you can just use it to hopefully capture something, and then if it's a high value target or has a good effect that you want to keep, move it to an empty spot that's already surrounded by other Karumon to keep it safe and hopefully keep it from being recaptured. Now the other variant is a Legend Ramuda, and this one has 10 power, also a starter so you can just lay it straight down. When Ramuda enters the arena, all floating Karumon lose 4 power, including your own. I think that this is not going to be super great, just with his first set, because you'd have to just know that your opponent was playing floating Karumon. There's nothing that gives there's nothing yet that gives your rivals Karumon floating.
Wrong, jackass.
They would have to capture some of your own floating Karumon, which is going to be difficult enough, but as the game goes on and more cards get released, this is going to be worth checking out. Now we will see a couple of Tatsuko variants. This guy is very adorable, and he is sad almost all the time. He is crying because he has to file taxes, and he forgot. Anywho, when Tatsuko defends and isn't captured as a result of the brawl, the attacker is captured instead. Pretty unseemly at a 4 power, but if they lay something down that is just above 4, and you have a Tiger Acorn and other effects to pump Tatsuko up quite a bit and stop the brawl from capturing, you can just go ahead and take the attacker instead. Pretty strong. You only get 1 in the additional cards, but this is a good one to have. Now the other Tatsuko variant, when Tatsuko enters the arena, flip into the air. If it lands face up, it can't be captured, so it has a one turn safety. Otherwise, it gains crying. There is an upgrade Tatsuko that we'll get to, so that kind of would suck if you manage to get crying, but still very strong if you happen to land face up and prevent a capture next turn, just for the extra level and for the extra upgrade if you have the upgrade in your hand. Now, as far as incredibly strong starters go, in the additional cards, there is a handful of these pixel starters. They are elite cards. So elite cards, you can only have 1 elite card in your deck, not just 1 legend Tatsuko or things like that, where legends you can only have 1 copy, but elite cards is just 1 elite card and that's it. Same thing with player cards, you only have 1 in the entire deck because they are incredibly strong. So this is a starter Tatsuko. I love the pixel art, incredibly strong at 12 power, can attack in any direction. And when Tatsuko attacks, you can choose up to 3 Karumon in any direction. They also lose 3 power. So, you can potentially flip a 14 power Karumon just by laying it down. Absolutely nuts. 5 levels, if you can keep onto it, which I would highly advise doing. Very, very high value target. And for the upgraded Tatsuko, starting at 14 power, also very strong, can attack in any direction. When Tatsuko is upgraded, all the Karumon on your team gain floating. So if you capture a good few of your rival's Karumon and then you want to try and keep them safe, knowing that your rival doesn't have a whole lot of Sky Karumon or things to gain floating in order to attack other floating Karumon, if you lay Tatsuko down, you can pretty much just protect your entire team and keep everybody floating and hopefully away from capture. Second to last, but certainly not least, you will get to Shinji. When Shinji enters the arena, choose a Karumon on your team. That Karumon gains floating, so just an easy one target floating. Pretty nice to have a 7 power starter though, that's always a benefit. And you will get one Sky Legend Yomi. Also a starter, starting out with 10, that's pretty good. Can attack in just about every direction except for bottom right. When Yomi is attacked for the first time during this round, the attacker loses 10 power when this turn ends. So, sure, it might get captured if they lay down something 11 or more, but if it's the first time, yeah, Yomi's going to flip to them, and then that Karumon that they just attacked with that is probably pretty strong is going to immediately lose 10 power, so hopefully you can lay something down beside it and capture it instead. And yes, I'm incredibly biased because my favorite color is purple, but these are Shadow Karumon, and this is going to complete the trifecta of no strengths and no weaknesses cards. These are Shadow type Karumon. They have no power-ups against other types, but there are also no other Karumon that have type effectiveness against Shadow type. So, first off, let's talk about Momo. Momo can only be attacked by Karumon with 4 or less power. Pretty restrictive in the directions of attack, but it will get you 2 levels if you can hang on to it. It's seemingly pretty easy for your rival to capture, but take note that Momo only prevents an attack from being initiated from a Karumon with more than 4 power. So your rival is more than able to play a 4 power Karumon, bump it to 5 with a power potion, and then attack. So keep that in mind. Pixie, little hard-boiled egg looking thing. This is going to be the first Karumon you see that is going to give another Karumon on your team hiding. So it's going to enter, conceal itself and another Karumon on your team with hiding. Hiding operates very similar to floating. Hiding Karumon can only be attacked by other hiding Karumon or by native Shadow type Karumon. This is Hikage, and it might not have my favorite effect in the game, but it is my favorite art. Look at that little purple ghost wolf. How cool is that? All mean looking, all steamy. When Hikage attacks, all other Karumon on your team gain hiding, as long as you have at least one other Shadow type Karumon on your team. Played late into the round, not at the end because, you know, hiding won't really do much if you're already going to end the round, but played as the 5th or 6th card if you've already got a pretty heavy team, this can go ahead and protect some of your higher value targets with hiding if your opponent doesn't have any hiding Karumon themselves or Shadow type. Pretty good. Next we've got 2 copies of a sad little bear, Suda. When Suda enters the arena, Suda gains 8 power as long as Suda is the only Karumon on your team. Now, you can attack in any direction. Starts with 8 power already, so already pretty strong. Going to gain you 3 levels if you can hold on to it. There's a little bit of a caveat though that I had to get clarification on. When it says it gains 8 power as long as Suda is the only Karumon on your team, that doesn't mean it's going to continuously gain and lose depending on if you have just Suda on your team. It's once you lay it down, if it's the only one on your team, it's going to be a 16 power base. Incredible. We get to a Pixel Elite. This is Pixel Elite Suda. Can attack in any direction. Initially has 0 power, but it always has power equal to the number of bonus cards in your own discards. Other abilities cannot make this ability stop working. So, going to be best if you are later on into the rounds, if you're in round 3 and have a huge discard pile, but definitely still worth taking a look at. Furitake, this squishy wiggly mushroom. When another Karumon is added to your team, it gains hiding until next round ends, and Furitake loses 1 power. So, a starter with 8, not bad. It's going to continuously leech power in order to give hiding to the Karumon that you play from hand and the Karumon that you capture from your rival. That's considered being added to your team. So, it will lose 1 power. and it is not a conditional. It says when another Karumon is added to your team, it's not you may give somebody hiding and do this. It says it gains hiding until the next round, and Furutake loses 1. So you absolutely have to do it, but still a very, very strong effect. Now I'm pretty sure that this is the only card, Sadaloon. This is the only Karumon that has multiple variants across different types in this set so far. There's a metal one, and there's this shadow one. When Sadaloon attacks a hiding Karumon, that Karumon loses 3 power. Again, this is going to be most useful against a rival that has their own set. If you're using your own set to help your friends learn and things like that and construct decks from, you can probably pretty easily tell if one of your friends is going to be using shadow or hiding Karumon. But that said, if you were playing against somebody who had a penchant, like someone that's sitting in this room right now, for purple things and purple Karumon, then you can probably safely assume that using Sadaloon to either capture one of their hiding Karumon or, hint hint, recapture one of your own hiding Karumon that got captured is going to be a good card. Now on to the ground type additional cards. We have Ryuko, this big snake Tsuchinoko looking thing. When Ryuko attacks, it gains hiding unless your rival discards a card. So there's something that earlier Sadaloon would be good against. I think this is just about the only card that isn't shadow type that does something with hiding, but still, a starter at 9 is absolutely insane. Trying to force a discard out of your rival just to prevent it from being captured is pretty good. A quick note about something like this. So let's say you had already played Ryuko and it gained hiding. If you have a Karumon on your team with hiding or floating, and it's about to be captured during a brawl, if you know it's about to be captured, you can hit it with a Cure-All right before the end of the brawl, before it flips to your rival's team, to make sure that it loses floating or hiding, so it can be more easily recaptured by you later on if it's a high value target. Kirin, nothing too crazy here. There are quite a few cards in the additional cards that do something depending on if there are similar types already in the arena. So when Kirin enters the arena, it gains blocking as long as there is at least one other ground type Karumon on your team. Pretty good to be able to swing a 9 power, a permanent blocking, as long as that effect doesn't get removed. But yeah, turning into a potentially 9 power defending starter is great. Kurakoa. When your rival starts their turn, Kurakoa gains 2 power until this turn ends. That's great. Every time that your rival is going to hopefully attack, it's just automatically a 6. We have a couple of 5 power Kurakoa. This one just cannot lose power as the result of a Karumon ability. Straight up, just a native protection effect from losing power. Now on to the ground Pixel Elite. Pixel Elite Kurakoa. 12 power, attacks in any direction. When Kurakoa enters the arena, choose any empty space in the arena. Cards can't be played to that space during this round. So if you have a high value target somewhere else that is surrounded by empty spaces that you are just worried about it getting captured, maybe your rival has something sneaky up their sleeve, you can go ahead and just say Kurakoa is going to block out one of those spaces. Can't play there. Very nice for protecting some of your high value targets. Upgrade Kurakoa. This is a bad boy right here. Little golem dude. 14 power as an upgrade. Gives you 3 levels, attacks in any direction, and when each of your own turns starts, choose up to 2 other Karumon on your team. So you don't always have to choose 2 if you don't have, if you don't have 2 Karumon on your team by the time you play this Kurakoa, that's a little bit upsetting. But those Karumon gain blocking until next turn ends. So not just until your turn ends, but when it flips to your rival's turn and they try to play stuff to start attacking and capturing some of your higher value targets, you can already give them blocking and they will have a +3 power bonus against any of their attackers. That's awesome. We have seen Magatama before. You get one in the additional cards, but we have not yet seen the Magatama upgrade. I love the art on this one. 11 power. Each brawl, Karumon get power-ups when defending instead of attacking. So it just flips these types and power-ups on their head so that instead of... But this also affects your Karumon, so be prepared for that. If you notice that your rival is having a lot of, let's say, water Karumon that are good against your fire people. And the last ground card that you'll get in the additional cards is a different variant of the upgrade Tonbu. The upgrade Tonbu that's in the Sakura deck just says during this round Karumon can't gain added effects, but this one says that Karumon can't lose power while Tonbu is in the arena. This applies to your rival's Karumon also, so you can't be using cherry bombs once Tombu's out or anything like that. But definitely good for protecting your own if you have some higher power Karumon that you don't want to be captured. For typeless additional cards, you just get a handful. You're going to get a Raiguru variant. When Raiguru attacks, you may choose another Karumon on your team. If you do, Raiguru gains the same power up as that Karumon. So pretty much just a typeless that can transform to any type as long as you have something on your team that is going to power up against what you're attacking. Pretty useful, just kind of is a little bit more situational. And last we have Kozo, a starter. Gets you 2 levels if you can hang on to it, 9 power, not bad. If you play Kozo from your hand, you take the first turn when next round starts. So you can guarantee that you're going to take his first turn. It can put you in an advantageous position, but going second can help you react to and capture your rival's potentially weak hand. So very situational, but still good. Additional cards. Water. We've seen Mika before, draws you a card when it enters the arena, never bad. Now, upgrade Mika is probably going to be one of the stronger effects in the game. Anytime that you draw a card, you may draw an extra card as long as you have 5 or fewer cards in your hand. So if you're under 5 cards, if you aren't at a full hand size, especially as the round goes on, this Mika is going to let you refill back up to 5 every single one of your turns. That is insane. That's crazy. This is a Chinado variant. I like the art on this one a lot too. When Chinado attacks, flip it into the air. So this is another card that you'll physically flip into the air. If it lands face down, shuffle it into your deck and draw a card. So the caveat here is that even if you lay it down and attack something that's going to be weaker that you can capture, if this lands face down when you flip it, the attack does not go through and the capture does not go through. So a little bit of a risk with this one. You still draw a card if you happen to get the negative effect, but a starter with 8 power is still pretty strong. Upgrade Chinado, changes color, gets a little bit warmer, a little bit better cooked. 14 power on this one, +3 level. Can attack in just about every direction. When Chinado attacks, ignore all other Karumon abilities until this turn ends. So this is going to shut off stuff like Magatama's effect. If you are trying to use a cherry bomb, Magatama's not going to be able to take that power loss and draw a card instead. This will shut off Chip, so you don't have the one power swing, the gain and the loss for each fight. Chinato's going to be a good one. This is the only card in the set that allows you to see your rival's hand. When Anato enters the arena, you may look at your rival's hand. Just gives you more knowledge on what they might have, what you could potentially take with a trade. Definitely very good. Upgrade Anato, nothing too extreme. When Anato attacks, it gains 1 power for each other Karumon on your team until this turn ends, so just a temporary bruiser if you've got a heavy team. Then you've got 2 variants of a starter Kenta. This is the first one. When Kenta enters the arena, you can discard a Karumon from your hand. If you do, Kenta gains 3 power until this turn ends. Not bad, not super crazy either. I kind of wish that this one would gain power permanently. If you discarded a Karumon, that's kind of a heavy cost, but still, it's useful to help you get over something that might be a little bit bigger. And then the other Kenta variant, I like this art, that's pretty cool looking. When Kenta attacks, ignore the defender's ability until this turn ends. So just like I was talking about with the upgraded Chinado, this is going to turn off stuff like if you're attacking Chip or if you're attacking Magatama and you want to try and mess with its power.
Hello again. This time it is me from the future. I am a robot, and I commanded the original human version of myself to stop this video here. Please feel free to check out the second half of the additional card review videos. Hail Zoltan!